say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Members, the question now is that Part 3, as amended, stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. We now move to debate on Part 4, Clauses 78 to 117 and Schedule 3. The question is that Part 4 stand part. Lynn Pillay.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. To be consistent, of course, I'll take a call on Part 4, which, of course, is the final part in the bill, but as such, actually amends a further 13 statutes. You know, that's quite a considerable number of statutes, actually, quite a considerable number. Whilst most of the amendments are minor and ensure consistency amongst all the legislations, they are also very important. And this is actually, whilst not controversial at all, and probably one could almost say is quite a tedious part. I can see the Minister nodding. Quite a tedious part of the bill. It is still vitally important because if these amendments aren't made and are incorrect, then the bill is inconsistent with the other statutes. So again, this would be, I would imagine, not being anyone that's ever gone through the process of doing this, I don't think I'd have the patience, and I know Maurice Williamson wouldn't. But for those that do have the patience, those with that eye for detail, with that eye to detail, probably like the Minister sitting in the chair, then that is actually really, really valuable work. And whilst it's probably it's work that's never really receives the full recognition that it should, actually, because many other amendments are really interesting, and they're making substantial changes and improving the bill, or in this case, improving the collection of fines. But in this instance, they're really just making things work properly, technical amendments more, but in doing so ensure consistency. So what are the bills? I can see people asking, what are the bills that have been amended? Well, firstly, there's the Children's, Young Persons and Their Families Act of 1989. Now, that repeals the old definition of traffic offence and substitutes a new definition which adds a number of new acts, any offence under which will constitute a traffic offence. So, a very important part of the bill. Customs and Excise Act 1996, changing the definition of fine. So that definition has been changed for consistency. The Family Courts Act of 1980, there's been some changes there. The Personal Property Securities Act of 1999. The Registrar of the High Court or a District Court may enter in the register a financing change statement under certain circumstances prescribed in the amendment. So again, to make things work properly, that's really important that act be amended. And of course, the Prisoners and Victims Claims Act of 2005, getting more into current times, that adds an order and council provision in the section relating to the deduction of money for legal aid and for reparation, etc. The Privacy Act of 1993, amendments there, and we note that the requirement for the registrar to consult with the Privacy Commissioner in certain instances. The Railways Act of 2005. Now, who would have thought that act would have needed amendment? But that is actually, again, why it's really important to acknowledge the work that gets done in these instances, because that's been picked up. And God forbid if the Railway Act was inconsistent with this bill, with the Criminal Courts and Criminal Matters Bill. And the Sentencing Act, goodness me, my old favourite, the Sentencing Act of 2002. That Act's amended to authorise a court to direct that an offender can be detained for up to 2 hours to complete a declaration of his or her financial capacity. Now that's actually really important because, as previous speakers, including myself, have spoken about, it's really important when you're looking at these fines about getting it sorted to establish whether the person has the financial capacity, the ability to actually make those payments. The Social Security Act of 1964 has also been amended, as has the Tax Administration Act of 1994 and the Transport Act of 1962. So all of those acts have been amended. Mr Chair, if I can just finish, I won't be very long. So all in all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now that's quite mysterious because it says here that 13 statutes have been amended, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But I can...
Count them again.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I can only find 12 on my notes. Perhaps the Minister will take a call and enlighten me. I'll go through them. I've got the Children, Young Person and Their Families Act 1989. I've got the Customs and Excise Act 1996, the Family Courts Act of 1980, the Immigration Act of 1987, the Personal Property Security Act of 1999. That's 5. The Prisoners and Victims Act of 2005, the Privacy Act of 1993, the Railways Act of 2005, the Sentencing Act of 2002, the Social Security Act of 1964, the Tax Administration Act of 1994, the Transport Act of 1962. That is 12. I'm just, I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring you into the discussion, Mr. Chair, but it's just one of those things that is just annoying me. What is that other act? And I suspect that there is people in this chamber that know. And I'm going to ask them, is it the Minister? Does the Minister know? Because if he knows, I can see that little gleeful look on his face, and he's just feeling kind of proud that he's going to be able to jump out and take a call and enlighten the House on what that other act is. In the absence of that, I know that perhaps we've been given misinformation. It would be very rare, but perhaps we have. But if anyone in this House can enlighten us, I think it would be a lovely finish to this bill that does have majority support, although not from the Greens. It would be very good to find just what that pesky statute is that's missing. Mr. Chair, imagine if I was to turn the page and it was just on the other page, but it's not.
The Minister's nearly got it.
The Minister's scribbling frantically. I think he's found it. And I'd have a lot of respect if we could find it. The officials know. They might be able to give him the word. And if he gets that word, then I think it'll be, poor old Simon Powers hasn't had a good run lately. He's going to be leaving, and we're all going to miss him. And I think it would be just make him feel, it would boost his morale if he stood up and told us what that missing statute was. And so, Mr. Chair, I don't want to be frivolous. I think I've said enough tonight, and I'm really happy that this is a bill, unlike many others in this House, that we in Labour are supporting, and I look forward to its progress through the House. Thank you very much. And I do hope the Minister can enlighten the House.
Members. Carol Beaumont.
Well, while the Minister's still frantically looking for that,